So one of the common issues in our countries in Africa, there is lack of access to sanitation facilities, and even if there is access to sanitation facilities, the quality of treatment is not that high or is not reaching the number or the percentage that is supposed to be reaching. So why it's important, do you think, to discuss such issue?
Well, there's a saying that water is life. Everyone every day uses water. So we Africans, we need to take good care of ourselves, especially in terms of wastewater management. If we don't do, we will be in trouble, especially with the water-related diseases like cholera and dysentery and other diseases.
Just to add on to what my colleague has mentioned, indeed, when people get sick, you get to have problems. Not only will you talk about people being non-productive, you also realize that the healthcare costs for the individuals, the families, or indeed the government will tend to go up. And in fact, it reminds me that for the same reason that the government of Zambia, for instance, is making a lot of efforts towards having a situation where there are zero waterborne diseases.
So you're saying that there's already actions taken into place in Zambia and there's already policies existing in Zambia?
That is very correct. We do have wastewater management policies in place. However, the challenge is how do we go about the issues of having to cater for an increasing population and also how we can acquire more efficient technologies.
That's really interesting, because I think also it's a common challenge between all our countries, how to make sure that those policies that already exist are taken into place and taken into actions. What about South Africa? How's the situation there? Is there a policy already into place, and how far those policies are taken into action?
So yeah, for the case of South Africa, well-drafted policies are there, and indeed to some extent they are well regulated, and so far they have assisted us drastically so in terms of us treating wastewater. But I think the area perhaps that still needs improvement is improvement of such policies so that in a long run they become sustainable and effective. Yeah.
That's interesting, because I think since the system's already existing and the policies also existing, we need to discuss about how we could motivate the general public, how we can motivate private sector, how we can motivate people to engage, to make those policies more activated, to make it like people achieving the goals of those policies. So how do you think that this could be achieved, and how do you think we could contribute and suggest solutions that could contribute in taking those policies into real actions?
I think one of our countries encourage private companies to go green as a means of showing an initiative that wastewater should be clean, and also we're looking at regulations. When this company abides to the regulations, this will give them some sort of tax-free or tax flexibility, and in terms of rental flexibility also. And then we also need, the other point is the issue of education. Now we have to educate our children in schools, and then also engage the public as a whole in order to be alert about wastewater and clean water, so that future mindset of future generations will change.
Okay, so I agree with what Kalema-san has said. Indeed, for me, I think that the way forward is to have modern technology that speaks to our African situation. We're talking about technology that is low maintenance cost, technology that has got low monetary cost that my colleague has attributed to. And having done an internship, for instance, at the Sangyo, I've come across this technology that has got low maintenance cost, low monetary cost. So for the purposes of sustainability, I think that would be the way forward for Africa.
I think it's important to discuss about the base of the problem, which is the health and environmental issues and the current practices in our countries, and how those practices are affecting the efficiency of the treatment and the existing policies. If there is existing policies in our countries related to domestic or industrial wastewater, and also as you mentioned, there is initiatives that could be taken, and also adapting the technology which flow with the conversation of understanding such problem. And I think it would be very important to discuss further about it in our next discussion.
Indeed.